In today's episode, we're exploring how life changes can impact whether your current home is still the right fit. We'll discuss practical signs and options for those considering a move towards more comfort, safety, or simplicity. As our needs evolve, so should the spaces we live in. If your home feels harder to manage or no longer suits your lifestyle, it may be worth exploring what other living options could be better supported for your future. Hi, I'm here with Jennifer Coley from the Freedom Group at RE/MAX Elite. How you doing?
I'm good, Joe. How are you?
I'm awesome. So tell me a little bit about tell me a little bit more about your real estate journey, so to speak. How long have you been in it, and how did you get in, and things like that?
Okay, so I grew up in real estate. My father was a broker for 40 years. My mother was an agent for 39.
Wow.
I went on my first listing appointment at 3 years old.
Oh, that's awesome.
So my husband and I have been in the business here in Brevard for 15 years now. And I am a team lead. We've expanded. We have 2 buyer's agents under us now. We have a stager under us now, and we have another full-time agent.
Cool. That sounds like you've grown quite a team.
We have, yeah.
That's awesome. So today we're talking about is it time to move? Talking about moving up or down depending on where you are in your life.
Okay.
Yeah. And so it's come to my attention that you've become a senior specialist.
Yes.
Can you talk a little bit about that?
Sure. Well, I'm not sure exactly how I got into it, but I was a late life baby. So I had my grandparents in nursing homes from a very young age. I spent a lot of time around seniors. I'm just very comfortable with them. I love the senior community. I generally have a heart for that. Seniors require a little extra attention, a little more time, and you have to earn trust, and that takes time. And
yeah,
that's just something I love and really enjoy. We've also become knowledgeable in the senior communities, the 55 and over areas, or areas that maybe are not specifically 55 and over, but they just lend themselves to that lifestyle. Okay,
cool. Yeah, every group has a specific needs and things like that. So what are some physical or lifestyle signs that a home may no longer be safe or manageable?
That's a great question. So we see a lot of this in Brevard. We have young families that maybe their family is growing and they need additional bedrooms. Maybe their kitchen no longer fits the size of the family.
Right.
We also have maybe somebody owns a second-story home or a home with sunken living rooms. We see a lot of that in the Lockmar community, and maybe that's become a safety issue over time. Another thing that we see is preparing for hurricanes. As people age, that can just become a little more of a burden, or maybe now they're doing it on their own and it's become overwhelming. So maybe moving to a home that has impact windows, that doesn't need any shutters. Also, just maintaining a large property over time in this Florida climate where we have year-round growth and rain at 3 o'clock every afternoon, that can become challenging over time. Sometimes it's just with age, sometimes it's just with children.
Yeah. Well, I know from the hurricane perspective, we only might get 1 or 2. If it's a lot, 1 or 2 times a year we have to do that, but the amount of work it takes is just, it's a lot. It's a lot to manage.
And the born and raised Floridians, because they don't worry about any shutters at all.
Right, yeah. So how do you differentiate between temporary inconvenience and long-term need for change when we're talking about homes and things like that?
Okay, so temporary inconvenience, I would ask my client, is this just a quick season you're in, or do you see this in years to come? So I guess the scenario would be, are the in-laws only here for 3 weeks, or does it look like they're going to be moving in with you? And you're going to need a little extra room? Are the teenagers just not getting along at the season that they're in, or is everybody too tight on space and we need to expand the size of the home a little bit?
Right, yeah. I know when my kids were little, the smaller home didn't matter as much. Now they've grown and they need their spaces.
Yes.
So, well, good. So there's obviously emotional roadblocks, right, when you're dealing with homes, and it is an emotional experience for many.
Yes. Yeah.
So what emotional roadblocks do you see in clients who know it's time to move, but they just can't take those first steps?
Yes. So emotion definitely plays a huge part. A home is, unless you're buying a yacht, the home is the biggest purchase you can ever make.
Right.
You're growing a family there. You have lots of memories there, holidays in the home. I just remind them that they're not giving up their past. They're setting themselves up for more memories and a more meaningful future being in the right home.
Yeah, I mean, I think of a friend of mine whose mom has lived in their home since he was a baby.
Right.
And, she's in her 90s now. I'm like, imagine living the same home that time and stairs and all these things, and it just doesn't seem practical anymore.
Yes.
And you have options, but people get so emotionally tied to their homes that it's like, it's got to be a challenge for you.
And for the agents out there, a lot of times it's just sharing the story of the buyer with the person. I'll give you an example. I actually have a gentleman right now. I sold his mother's home 3 years ago. And it was important to him that a family moved in. So I sold it to a young couple. They just had their first baby a year ago, and now she's pregnant again. Oh. Well, they are actually getting ready to sell because they need a larger home now. And he reached out to see about buying it back.
Oh, really?
But that was important to him, to know the story of the people. And that's important to a lot of people that have been in their home for a long time, to know the story of the people that are moving into it. Just to know it'll be continued to fill with love.
Right. Yeah, I think that's neat. I mean, you have all these, I'm thinking about the home we're in right now. I have 4 kids. And the home we're in right now, we've been in for 10 years. Before that, we moved every 2 years because we kept having kids. But now we have no more kids, and we can't go anywhere because we had to get them through college and out of the house before we can actually downsize. But I am looking forward to that. But I will miss the memories that were made in that home, and I'm sure that's what goes through a lot of people's minds.
Yes, definitely.
So what types of homes or communities do you typically recommend for clients in that would meet that 55 plus community age? Okay.
Here in Brevard, we have so many options. So let's say it's somebody that's an avid golfer. They want to be on the course every single day. I'd recommend Indian River Colony Club.
Oh, that's
They
great,
have a private
place.
golf course. Yep. If it's somebody that enjoys the avenues, fine dining and shopping, I'd recommend Bridgewater or Heritage Isle. Maybe it's somebody that wants to be here in Brevard, but enjoys more of a Key West feel with a quality builder. That would be Alamanda Key.
Oh, where is that one? Is that in Suntree area?
It's actually in South Melbourne, right off of Eber. So right off of Eber there and Stack, you have Alamanda Key.
Okay.
You have Pine Creek, which was all built by Lennar. Really nice community, 3 great layouts in the homes. Everything is built up to hurricane code. Across the street from there, you have the community of South Oaks, and that is, I think, Brevard's best kept secret.
South Oaks, okay.
South Oaks. It's actually not a 55 and over community, although I'd say more than 80% of the community is 55 and over just because it's 0 lot lines. But you have single-family homes. Lawn is included. It's $112 a month. Gated community, heated swimming pool, indoor hot tub, full-size gym,
Sounds
RV
great.
and boat parking, clubhouse, events. It's really fantastic. But it's not a 55 and over community, but it does appeal to most,
Right.
most
I mean, it doesn't
55.
have to be.
Or people just starting out, no children yet.
Right.
They don't need a big yard to maintain.
Now, what would when we talk about 55 plus communities, what is it about a 55 plus community that might appeal to someone, or what are the pros, I would say, of a 55 plus community?
I would say it's about 50-50 with seniors. Sometimes seniors want to be in a community where they don't have a ton of little children running around. Maybe they don't want to have the teenager blasting their music in the car next door.
That'd be
but
my
a lot of seniors do want to have that. They don't want to be around just people their age. They want to have a lot of age diversity in a neighborhood. So that's why I say we can find neighborhoods that fit their lifestyle and where they want to be, and they may or may not be a 55 community, but it may appeal to the 55 and over community.
You mentioned a couple in Viera, and Viera is, a really hot spot right now.
Definitely.
There's a lot going on, and that might appeal to some, or they might rather be in a less busy, or I shouldn't say busy, busy, a less busy
quieter
area. Quieter area. Yep. Good.
Yeah.
What does freedom mean to your clients when they finally find the right home?
If you think an average rent is around $2,000 to $2,500 a month, times 12 months out of the year that you're handing over to somebody, I would say financial freedom. Even with a mortgage, you have financial freedom because there's an end in sight. There's a goal.
Sure. Yeah.
So
good. Well, that was some great information. We covered a wide variety of topics, but it sounds like Brevard has a lot of options. Whether you're looking to go into a 55 plus or not, even in those types of communities, a lot of options for people looking to right size their life, right, and become more safe and manageable, or just to get into a different community that fits their needs.
And one other reason a lot of seniors want to move to Brevard County that I don't know if everybody is aware of, but we have free health care. Once you're 65 and over with Health First, they have an incredible health care plan.
I did not know
and
that.
And it's free to seniors.
Huh. Interesting. Good to know. Well, good. Any other items on this topic that you can think of, or any final words?
No, I think that's all.
Great.
I appreciate you having us.
Well, thanks for coming
today
on. Thanks for watching today. So if you have any questions, comments, concerns, put them down below. We're going to put Jen's contact information for the Freedom Group down below so you can reach out to them directly. They do a great job here in Brevard County. And with that, thanks for watching. If you're not a subscriber, subscribe, like, share, do all those things, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you.
Thank you.